No, I moved the table, so instead of leaving it on the floor, I just put it on the table. But if it's needed, it's there. All right, it is 10 o'clock. We will call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. If you please join us with in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for joining us. It is January 27th. This is the Broadwater County Commissioners' General Meeting. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started. The Broadwater County Public Meeting Policy will follow Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of this policy is to open Broadwater County public meetings to a wider range of citizens. We realize we have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently and as possible for all Broadwater County citizens. Our meetings are recorded and are on YouTube, so please state your full name prior to making any public comment for the record. And any specific conversations or separate conversations need to be removed into the hall or down the hall so that it doesn't interrupt business in here. And outbursts will not be tolerated. There is a copy of the policy on our bulletin boards outside. First on the agenda is public comment. And so that there is no misunderstanding, I'm just going to address this for 1 minute. In the larger counties that have meetings much like ours, in the past we were able to be very casual in these meetings. We were able to welcome comment throughout the meeting. We solicited comment. It was very casual. It was nice, small town casual. A lot of the larger counties run a much more stringent meeting, and we've had to go to that in the past year because of the hostility that's been talked about in the Helena IR. So we have public comment at the beginning of the meeting, and to avoid a back and forth debate and to avoid any assumptions that the commission is not commenting or responding, what we will do is comment and respond to all the public comment when it is all finished. So with that, we have public comment. Is there any public comment?
My name is Cheryl Campbell. Once again, I'd like to remind you, in light of Montana's Supreme Court ruling published late Thursday, January 9, 2014, I requested you amend the wording in the Broadwater County Open Meeting Policy and Procedure Resolution. I'm specifically referring to the phrase in the Broadwater Open Meeting Paper in which the general public is allowed to observe commissioners' open meetings. Being allowed to observe is not in the same spirit of the law as set out in the state of Montana's Constitution concerning the right to know and the right to participate provisions. I ask that you add my written request for the revision of an open meeting policy to the minutes of this meeting and to the agenda of the next regularly scheduled commissioners' meeting. I have one other comment. Commissioner Obert, the last line in your most recent newspaper article reflects an unwarranted and unprincipled attack. That action is not compatible with the conduct I expect from my elected officials. I offer the balance of my 3 minutes as an opportunity for you to apologize to Commissioner Slivka. And I further request you follow up your apology with the like sentiment in the next edition of the local paper.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment? Linda.
I'm Melinda Mullen. In response to the case of Slivka versus Obert and Gravely, in my opinion, I think that you should be responsible for paying the lawyers out of your own pocket. I feel that the insurance money is there for what is an honest mistake. As I see it, this wasn't an honest mistake, but an outright breaking of the law by your own admission of guilt. I, as a taxpayer, shouldn't have to pay your consequences. I did not commit a crime. I was taught that if you play, you pay. You are responsible for your own doings. How else will you remember not to do it again if there is no punishment? I saw this quote, "You are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences of your choices. This is how it is supposed to be. As a taxpayer, I feel that you should be responsible to pay out of your own pocket, because you share the guilt, you should share the cost. Then it wouldn't be so bad. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Tim?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Jim Ravendall. I don't know where to keep this real short, but I'll do my best. On January 21st, 2014, I sent a letter to the commission and a copy to our sheriff regarding the agenda that's on our meetings here at the public meetings. And in that, I needed to ask for a follow-up on the commission for a request for a hearing on the Second Amendment resolution, which when Commissioner Gravely was chair, the people were assured that that would move forward. We have not seen anything scheduled at this point, so I hope that we can get that answered. Before I go any further, I requested a response to this prior to this meeting, because the whole purpose of my sending this to the commission was to ensure that the citizens of Broadwater County know what's going on. And the agenda, as I've stated many times before, is lacking in clarity and lacking in enough information for the folks to really constructively participate in the process. I highlighted most of those items. I'm guessing everybody's seen that in red. And I'll just use a couple examples. At 10:15, we're looking at public hearing on salary resolution and organizational chart. Lay folks don't have any clue of what that's about. Bill Dykes and Sean Bryant from BOR are going to be here. Canyon Ferry Recreation. Well, that's a pretty broad subject. What are we talking about? Budget review. Has a complete budget ever been printed for review? Many folks have been wondering that question. Is the commission reviewing to amend these budgets? Again, there's lack of clarity there for participation purposes. Going down into the lower part of the agenda, it continues to amaze myself and many others that the county facilities maintenance upkeep, support letters, ongoing grants, grant, PILT, recycling department purchase of property, county management, solid waste use of land. These things are very lacking in clarity. And Madam Chair and Commissioners, I respectfully request that, once again, the Commission take a little bit more effort in having an agenda that's clear and concise. We don't need to be spending 45 pages to do that. I've given examples of Lewis and Clark County, as well as the legislative committee hearing meetings. Always give at least a brief explanation of who's going to present and what the subject matter is. With that said, I'm going to anticipate that our agenda this or the rest of the day is not going to provide for an active participation. I'd like to go on record to oppose the retention of a special prosecutor on our county. We need to take care of what we got. And I'm out of time, I understand, so I'm going to go ahead and say I really expect a response. Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you for your time. That's all I ask. Move forward.
Thank you. Any other public comment? John?
My name is John Wright. This is reference to Carla McBossy and her proposal of wanting a prosecutor. She is a de facto county public servant, duly processed in the United States Court of Appeals and convicted. And I demand her resignation immediately on these bases and further bases that she is ill mentally and physically by her own admission. And apparently our de facto government goes a lot further than that with you, Elaine, and you, Laura. Mr. Slifka has, in all respects of the law, vindicated himself. And I'm serving Carla's, yes, Carla, look, on you, and this means one thing to you, that it's processing just like I did with Elaine, and you're next, Laura. I'm going to serve these papers on Mr. Slifka, because he's the only one of you here that are not a de facto public servants. And from that point, it will move on. Now, first thing, I want Carla removed from her office. She is mentally and physically ill. I attended her meeting last Friday. She plundered, she misrepresented, she accomplished nothing. She's ill. By her own admission, you heard it. Remove her. You have the authority.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Public comment. All right. Franklin, we will need to submit those papers for the public record since they were submitted to the commission.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, is the document that I sent to you folks earlier requesting, is that part of the record? If not, I have a copy for your convenience to be included.
That would be great. Thank you. And we'll pass both these over to Ann. Thank you. All right, first of all to Cheryl. There was a pamphlet or an article that was handed out during a production on the 13th of our meeting. And it's this from, I believe it's from the IR, Montana High Court. And it was used as a document to state that no more executive sessions could take place with the commission, also known as closed door. Because of the Constitution of the state of Montana, which states that individuals have a right to privacy, we honor that because it's part of our oath. This is another thing we honor, which is the Personnel Policy Handbook. This is our Bible in dealing with personnel. In this document, it says that employees' rights to privacy will be protected. So, as far as the decision made by the Supreme Court, this is the decision. Cheryl, if you'd like a copy, we can get you one, or you can get it upstairs in the clerk of court, either one. The only thing this changes is the fact that anybody can sue the county at any time for a violation of open meeting rights. It does not alter the ability for the commission to hold an executive session when it comes to either legal strategy or personnel matters. So, second was what you claimed I made as far as a accusation against someone. The way that was worded in the article was not an accusation, but it certainly can be stated that way if you want to, for salacious reasons. What I said was, and I stand by it, for anyone to take an error and exploit that for a personal agenda is a despicable act. Some might even call it cowardly. I stand by that statement. And I'm going to go further. As far as coming to these meetings, bringing an agenda, being ready for the meetings, having done our homework, and then hearing the experts and making a decision for all 6,000 citizens, there is a cowardice to sitting in a chair and consistently abstaining from the vote so the one does not have to take ownership for a yay or a nay vote. As far as facing 3 to 8 people who are very angry and staring daggers, it takes a certain amount of bravery, the opposite of cowardice, to go ahead and continue to conduct business and make a vote that may be unpopular with that 3 to 8 people for the good of the 6,000 people in this county. It takes a certain amount of bravery in order to stare down those people and still hold a closed-door meeting, even though law enforcement has been called multiple times because of the tirade that a fellow commissioner is having and trying to get the public to stay in a closed door despite law enforcement to try and intimidate the rest of the commission into not doing our jobs. I stand by what I said in that article.
Laura, can you make a comment?
No, as far as the insurance versus Melinda's request that we pay our own attorney fees, Unfortunately, even if we wanted to, that is not an option. Franklin sued the county. Whether he meant to or not, he sued the county. The county is obligated by law to defend any employee who is sued. When the lawsuit is against the county and an employee is named, which was the case in this instance. It is MCA, the word shall appears, there is no wiggle room, we have no choice but to abide by MCA. That is out of our hands completely. As to the agenda, today's agenda actually has more detail in it than the agendas since I first came on the commission. We have not had any complaint until this last year. Many of the things listed in the items for discussion are managerial. But because over the last year, those have been challenged and then put off by a week or two to get them in the paper, what we have done is put them in the items for discussion, action, review, and signature, so that there is additional transparency, so that everybody knows what the managerial items that we typically address in our mail is, so that we can go ahead and address those. To have to put off every single piece of mail, to agenda it separately, and then put it off by an additional week, would one, bring this county to its knees, bring it to its standstill, and cost an awful lot of money in legal ads. So we have done this to increase transparency. As to the Second Amendment, we swear an oath of office, and I'm going to read it to you. When we are first elected, I, Laura Obert, do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Montana, and that I will discharge the duties of my office as Broadwater County Commissioner with fidelity, so help me God. We already support the Constitution of both Montana and the United States. Therefore, we already support the Second Amendment. We are on record with going further than that and supporting things like Rod and Gun Club in support of the Second Amendment. There is no question as to our support of the Second Amendment. To take county time, employees' time, which would equate to overtime, county resources, in order to have hearings on the Second Amendment, then add to a requirement for hearings on First Amendment, Third, Fourth, etc. It is an incredible waste of time and money to hold a hearing on something that we have already sworn, so help us God, to support and defend. So I, as chairman, will not be putting a hearing for the Second Amendment on the agenda. As far as the special prosecutor, we will be hearing about that at 10:30. Is there anything else?
Laura, can you make a comment on just what you've
No, public
done?
comment is over. Public hearing on salary resolution and organizational chart at 10:15. This is also managerial. The salary resolution has always come before the commission for approval. This year is no different, and we have it here. We'll address that first. And what this is just a listing of the different positions within the county and what those positions are paid. It does not include names, just the positions. And Melinda, that MCA for you is 2-9-305.
Can you repeat that, please, Lauren?
Yes, 2-9-305.
Thank you, ma'am.
And just so that you guys know, we do have a county compensation board meeting multiple times during the budget season. That is made up of citizens and elected officials, and they determine what the salaries would be for the elected officials, specifically raises. And then the commission's typically forwarded that on to all employees.
Madam Chair, is the board going to have a discussion on the figures in that resolution?
And we'll take no more public comment.
That's not-
As far as the salaries contained within the salary resolution, they have been fully discussed during the budget season, addressed fully during the budget season. This is just a formality of the paperwork. And- Yes. I was just gonna say, they have been available for review in 3 different offices in the courthouse.
I move that we accept the salary resolution fiscal year 2014.
We have a second, Franklin?
Yeah, I'll go on.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the
Here, I want
salary.
pizza.
We'll get you a copy. One needs to go to Ann, and we need to sign them. So we'll get you a copy that's signed. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the salary resolution for fiscal year 2014 and the salaries contained within. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That it?
I didn't hear you. Sign out. Again, we'll get you a copy.
I give mine to Ann.
All right, I think we just need one sign, if you want any copies of that. There you go. Now, the org chart, again, is ministerial. It's not something that we've usually done as a part of our meetings. But in an interest of being more transparent and bringing more information forward, we do have the org chart. This is the organizational chart. It is had by every single company with a number of employees. Some of your small mom and pops probably don't have an organizational chart. We do, because we have about 75 employees. We count seasonal and part-time. And I think just for clarity's sake, we should have a motion and a vote to adopt the org chart.
Also move.
We're just waiting on a second.
You did, yeah, just a list of the county employees.
Is that a second?
Second.
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the organizational chart for Broadwater County. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right. Do you want a signed copy, Ann?
Aye.
Anybody else want to look at it? Here's a copy to look at.
I have to put it in my-
Oh, okay. I'll just sign the bottom if that's okay. Does that work?
Yeah, that one. I mean, unless you want, just a minute.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll work. All right, next we have minutes for January 2013, January 13th, 2014. And these have been emailed to everyone. And edits have been received and implemented. And edits were suggested by all 3 commissioners.
Yeah. There's one thing on here yet still isn't, it says second payment to NDT for the turn lane on Highway 287. I think from 2005 should be deleted because It didn't take place in 2005.
It was stated in the meeting it did, and it actually did. It is an agreement from 2005.
I move the minutes be approved as read. As presented. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
No, no second.
Okay, I will second. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the minutes, January 13, 2014. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Opposed? Franklin. All right, thank you. We have 5 minutes. We'll go ahead and do some mail. There is a zoning meeting coming up, and this is for the gentleman who is purchasing the Perry Building. And it is for Thursday, January 30th at 7 o'clock at the Townsend City Hall.
7 p.m.
7 p.m., yes.
What is his full name?
Adam McDonald.
Did you say 7 o'clock?
Mm-hmm. We also have a WASAC funding workshop with the Department of Natural Resources. We are getting more
Wednesday.
notices. I'm sorry.
I was just telling Ann, it's on Wednesday.
We are getting more notices and more requests for public input because of the large predators Mako subcommittee that Elaine and I are both serving on. And we have such a notice here from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks regarding the grizzly bears. And if I could get that back, Franklin, I'll give it to Elaine.
That'll be on April 10th, then I'll be tied up with that date.
You can't
I
go
can't
there.
make that. Actions mostly for the city to approve anyways.
Yes.
This is also from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, and it is to address the Keep Cool Hills Management Area Biennial Rule. This deals with land north of Helena, the Stephen Ranch Company, and state lands that will be administered by the state. There is a public comment in the public meeting coming up January 14 at 5 o'clock. And there's also an address if you would like to send public comment. That will be at their offices.
Can we back up just 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
This is to make it so it's general industrial district. Wasn't it before?
Not officially. There was a,
When Pat Miller was there doing his thing?
I don't know that they actually crossed the Ts and dotted the Is. I think
Oh.
that's what this is about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I thought, I knew that Landhamer had been in there.
yeah. We also have a wastewater discharge permit for Glacier National Park. Again, that doesn't pertain to us unless somebody has family or friends who'd like to let them know. we finally have a request from the, excuse me, the senior center. Julie Lethard, as the county sanitarian, is obligated by law to make sure that there's certain requirements that are being met. The senior center does not have a correct sink, as required by the state. We have a bid here for $764 for a 3-hole sink. The sink itself is only $475. The faucet is only almost $70. It's the shipping at $220 that bought this sucker up so much. So, just like your input on that issue.
I personally don't think there's any choice if we're mandated to do that.
Yeah, the state has its requirements, and just like a business, we're obligated when we feed the public.
Yeah, I know those are required. The only thing is on that freight, I think, do some checking. Some different wholesalers, if they have them in stock or they're making an order for other things and get it worked into that same order. What is the freight, 300 something?
220. Would you like to work with Mike on this and see if you can find some other options?
I can.
Okay, excellent, thank you very much. So we will table this until next week and then get a report of that, and we can save some money. Just gonna call and see if Carla is available. Hi Wendy, this is Laura. I was just calling, hello. I am down here in the commissioner's office and we have a 10:30 with Carla. Do you know if she's on her way? Okay. Could I get that from you? Okay, thanks. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks. Bye. All right, I have a text from Carla, actually. I'm out of the office today until early afternoon. I hope the commission meeting goes well. She does request that we table the request for a special prosecutor until a later date. So, we will postpone that. So we have a couple of minutes more to do mail.
I'd like to bring up, you got that notice from Dana this morning, those overhead doors you're having quite a problem with on the shop. Did you get that too, Elaine?
I did not.
Okay.
I'm having trouble with my email right now.
So anyway, the two that facing the south there, and the one that's kind of burning up the bell on this morning, so, and I didn't have time to go out and look at them, but apparently the doors, they're the old wooden ones, and those inserts are cracked and falling out of there. And Dana said he's got enough in his CIP to take care of them. He's got one price, and I think it's door systems. It's going to come back through. But anyway, without looking, I'd say instead just keep patching on them, that probably replace the door.
So the doors that he's getting quotes on, are they insulated doors?
Now, I don't know on that. I don't know if they insulate, if that part is heated or not. This is that, I call it kind of the newer section. It's part that was built on after the fire, you know, when that was 30 years ago or whatever it was. But they said they are wooden doors, and that, you know, them old wooden, they start separating and stuff. So without looking at them, I would say it's best just replace them.
What is the cost that he's got a bid
$4,000 a door
per door?
installed. And rather than insulate, I don't know, but I'm assuming they'll either be metal or fiberglass, so probably metal, I would guess. so they'll hold it, especially any wood face, south facing. Takes a good beating in the weather.
If he's got the money in his budget, I'd say go for it.
He's been patching these doors for years. He's got a point where one of his doors has literal cracks going all the way across. He just can't keep the weather out. So this has been a long time coming. The second door isn't nearly as bad, but his thought is while he's at it, he might as well. And the other thing he would like is an automatic opener. Might be a good safety issue.
It makes sense.
It does, those are big doors.
I think they got openers on them.
They do not, but he is looking at that in that $8,000 price, and $8,000 is for the two
Right,
doors.
but I think, because you said something about burnt the bell off, so it burned the bell off, it's, anyway.
There'd probably still be a belt with a manual lift because those doors are so big, but that is something he just said. Dana
Anyway,
said this morning he does not have an automatic opener and is looking at including those.
Okay, well, I know it's
So
included in the
taking him at
price,
his
so-
word. We don't necessarily need to agree on this. We don't need a vote on it, but we certainly could take one to be,
I think just to have it on the record.
I agree, it doesn't hurt for
And I'll so
transparency's
move.
sake. All right, thank you very much.
And I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to support Dana's purchase of 2 new garage doors for the shop. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have a few claims here that just need to be signed by commissioners. As the chair, I initial them, so I don't feel comfortable signing them as well. One is for the Board of Health. Because we have 3 commissioners that serve on that board, I think it'd be appropriate to take care of that here, just in case there isn't a quorum this afternoon. And it's for $5,000 for the county health officer. We also have bills for the Townsend Star for legal ads, TV district for ongoing work that Charlie has been doing for us. And we are the TV district. We'll have to have a meeting for that here shortly. We also have a bill from the Broadwater Reporter for legal ad for the Mental Health Local Advisory Council. And then we have a PILT request from, that was brought to us by Wynn last week for meth cleanup. And this should also be signed by the commission. We have a phone bill for the museum that also should have a commissioner's signature that we already agreed to. And more bills from the Townsend Star for legal ads. So I will
Did
end this.
anybody else get a star last week?
The Star sent an email out last week that they are not publishing for the time being. We don't know what the future looks like for that. So no, you're not alone.
Cause I just thought maybe mine had gotten lost.
No,
Definitely not.
everybody's did, yeah. And I can split those in half too if you'd like, it's up to you completely.
And Mr. Franklin, can you look at this?
Sure.
For what you read off, everything sounds, we either agreed on before, or it's been,
I think so.
I think they're all, what did they do up on that, TV district, the repair, do you know what was taking place? I don't have anything to do with that, I mean, I don't get my TV from that.
The FCC has requirements that licenses be renewed at particular times. Our licenses were all due in December. Charlie went ahead and took care of that for us and resubmitted all those licenses. There were also some complaints that a couple of channels were not working. He went up during that cold spell around Thanksgiving and for 3 days worked up at the TV towers trying to fix that, got it fixed. And he's also working at getting us PBS from Bozeman.
Yeah, I just hear that the clean the filters for Channel 11, and then he did some cooling fans and some others, install 2 more cooling fans, Calorie Power, stuff like that. So you people have been having problems, I guess, off that transmitter, that's what it was.
Okay, I need one of you, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna divide these in half and ask you each to sign your halves so that we can get those initialed and get them paid.
Do you want a motion?
A motion on it first?
You know, they can, if you guys would like to make motions, that's fine, or they can go in the stack of claims. They just need a second signature because I should not be signing and initialing both. So it's up to you guys. It's not necessary. They've been brought out, so the transparency issue is well covered. Clinton, need you to sign those up here at the requester line. This is where the chair signs, but the chair cannot sign here and here, so we need you to sign there.
You do the initials.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that the presented claims be approved.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that the presented claims be approved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You need to sign,
Thank you.
initial that one too.
All right. Now, to the, some of those claims and some of the others from last week, we have claims for 114 in the amount of $79,916.46.
Say that again, please.
$79,916.46.
I'll move for approval of the claims in the amount of $79,916.46.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the approved claims in the amount of $79,916.46. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll have to get that changed.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And we have payroll. We have payroll, no, that's fine, for pay date 1/8/2014, 1/15/2014, in the amount of $157,245.55.
I'll make the motion to pay the payroll at $157,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay payroll in the amount of $157,245.55. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You know, that, to be real honest, that's quite a chunk of money into the county every month, over 300,000
Yeah,
in wages.
yeah. And the people who work here, the people who shop here,
Mm-hmm.
which circulates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we have First Premier bank statement. This is the investments that the Broadwater County Trust Board has. The increase looks like it's pretty substantial. It's sitting at $2,829,938.09, and the Trust Board can by law use anything over the $2.5 million corpus. They just took out $100,000 from this account for more grants. So,
Would
we
you
have,
say that?
yeah, you bet, $2,829,938.09.
Thank you.
You betcha. So there's the statement, and we do need to acknowledge that we have reviewed it per the auditors and sign a notice of receipt. So we'll need a motion for that. It is, I'm guessing it's for end of the year, but I don't recall having done this before either.
Oh, I brought one.
Oh, did you? Good. All right. There we go.
Looks like interest is coming in,
Mhm.
slowly but surely. Before we vote on this, we also would vote on approval of the different accounts. Bill, as a member of the trust board, and as a mathematician, I attended the last trust board meeting. There really wasn't a discussion about the investments. Do you know if there's an upcoming meeting on that, or is the trust board pretty happy with the way things are at this point?
I don't think there's a meeting scheduled on that, but that's something I usually ask for fairly frequently. And I think it wouldn't hurt to have another one.
Okay, maybe I will table this until we have that meeting and respond to them that we will be doing that.
We usually just invite somebody from Stockton's Bank to come and answer questions if we have any, and
Okay.
go through the investments.
Okay, I think, I'll just send Debbie an email on that.
Okay?
Then, okay, thanks. So we will table that until a later date. You know what, I will just put this, you don't need it, do you, Ann? Can I just put this in our signature file? Okay. All right, next we have, this is a land use license. This is for solid waste. And I think this should be put on the agenda with Brian. It doesn't seem, it just needs to be done by the end of February, but basically we need to sign an agreement with the Department of Natural Resources to use state land we currently use for our transfer, for our canister sites. So if you guys wanna look at these, they'll be in the mail.
Which side is that?
I think any of them. The one up Dry Gulch,
That's on, state land, is it?
yeah.
I think Radisburg might be too.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised with what Winston is too. I think they all are,
Toston is.
isn't it?
Yeah, we just need to remind them of which ones are, so, Brian will be able to, I'll give this to him, then we'll just revisit it with him. All right, so 9 more minutes, till our next appointment. We have, the elections information from MACO, that we need to hold a Montana voter review election for a county review team. This happens per the Constitution of Montana every 10 years in the 4 years. So 2004 was our last one. 2014, that we're in now, will be our next one. This county review team evaluates the structure of our county, the type of government we have, and will put together either a recommendation that we stay the same or a recommendation that we change it. So what we need to do is have some public hearings on this, and we'll need to decide on an amount for the budget and how many people will be elected, and they'll be elected in the primary election June 3rd. Anything to add on that?
It's just an annual thing.
Okay. So,
Or not annual, decade tea.
Oh, yeah.
But
Exactly.
it's the same thing,
Mhm.
yeah.
so, even as far as the amount or the mills to go into this, or the number of people, we could have a public hearing and hear input and then decide on those. If that works for you two, we'll start that process.
I think that's good.
Okay. All right. So that is all our mail. We're a little bit ahead of schedule.
Do you wanna hold on to that one?
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna bring up something for discussion. Dana would like to send an email to us, which I understand you didn't get because you have problems with email. He would like us to address a county-wide speed limit of 35. We've had a number of communities come to us in the last year, maybe 2, requesting to lower their speed limits to 35. He would like us to consider this countywide. I think to do this, we need to hear from the public, and would like to ask you guys if you want to stick with the status quo, and that is individual communities come to us. Or if you would like to have some meetings at different areas around the county, which we need to do again anyway. Goose Bay, be good to have one at the fire station. The southern end of the county, go to the Radersburg School again, and Winston, and see how folks feel about implementing something countywide. But if we're going to even talk about this, I feel like we need to go out and hear from the people. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Can I ask Brandon a question now?
Yeah,
Brandon, what would the county, from you guys' point of view, 35 mile an hour on the roads in the county?
We get a lot of complaints from just talking to people, about, dirt roads and people, speeding by their houses and things like that, and I think it would be a good idea, just with, we've had a few crashes that if people would just slow down a little bit on dirt roads, but just being out in the community a lot, we do get a lot of complaints on, dirt roads and speeding, and, just people aren't very happy with, there is no speed limit, so. I've advised a lot of them to come in and talk with you guys, whether they've done that or not, I don't know, so.
Some of them have.
mm-hmm, yeah.
It looks to me like it'd be easier to enforce if it was all 35 mile an hour. Do we wanna schedule a hearing?
What I'm wondering
That's what I say,
is,
let the people come here and have it out in the information for what it is, and what the feeling is for the speed limit. And the reasons for it, safety and road maintenance is to me, is the big part of it too.
Oh, you better believe it. And people can't stop as quick on a gravel road as they can on pavement, for sure.
How do you guys feel about doing our traveling meeting again on this particular subject? We could have a meeting, much like we already have in Winston and in Radersburg, where the agenda is really just public comment. How do you guys feel about this? Visit with people where they're at, rather than insisting that people always come to us here. We could start with your neighborhood at the fire hall. I could get together with Tom and figure out a time that works. And then just continue, and then have maybe a final public hearing here, where we have all that information compiled that we could bring together. Would that be something that you guys would agree to?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if, definitely putting it out there stuff, I don't know, we have to have these meetings scattered around, I mean, especially where there's gonna be one final one anyway, I think, there's, once it's, out and about known that people are gonna be discussing it amongst themselves, and that's what it's gonna take, and then come to the final meeting.
We do have it on record that we are going to be having traveling meetings around the county from about 6 months ago. So I will go ahead and schedule that per our voted decision. If that is something you guys, okay, all right. So we'll make those our Wednesdays too, so it doesn't conflict with Mondays. All right, so we are 4 minutes early. We have the rodeo club coming next week, by the way. So, there's some confusion on who owns what buildings. We'll go ahead and iron that out then for the insurance. So we are going to go ahead and jump ahead of schedule, since our schedule says that times are scheduled to change. And I see Bill is here. Is Sean here as well?
Something wrong.
Okay, Sean, gentlemen, if you'd like to come on up, that would be great. The seats are a little bit more comfortable here around the table anyway.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Well,
This is Bill Dykes. He is new to his position at DOR, but you're not new to DOR.
no ma'am, I came up here from Wyoming.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Elaine Gravely,
Cool, man, all right.
and this is Commissioner Franklin
Yeah,
Salifka.
I know.
And this is Ann Rouser. She does our minutes and is our voice of reason and wisdom.
Nice to meet you.
And we know Sean.
It's not all bad.
Of course not. Sean is a huge wealth of institutional knowledge, and I pick at Sean a lot, but both in regards to how things have been done and basically guidance in regards to how things are operated with Bureau of Reclamation here in Montana. It is a little bit different than Montana, in Wyoming. Do appreciate the opportunity to visit with y'all here today. This is kind of, to me, a carry-on of a conversation we had with the Broadwater County Trust meeting that was held 2 weeks ago, and in which there was just two discussions that came up. One dealt with the purchase of boat slips from the whalers over at Goose Bay for them to be utilized at silos. The second point is we've received informal information and correspondence from Sharon Walker at Silos in regards to a desire for development of a park area there at the Silos campground. What I asked at the Broadwater County Trust meeting is that there needs to be a notification or correspondence from the county commission in conjunction with the trust in regards to, for reclamation to basically approve these to take place. We've also received, in regards to the second item, we've received informal inquiries from the public. And so I foresee there'll probably be a public input process on that. But there's also responsibilities we have for complying with environmental and cultural laws and regulations within reclamation. So even though we've received requests directly from Mrs. Walker, we need that request to come from the commission for these two items in order for us to process this with our Montana area office.
Very good. I have a question for you, Bill. The letter regarding the docks, it's going to be in the water, and that's, my understanding is that's Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. We still need to let you guys know, but is that wrong thinking? Is it actually BOR because it's in Broadwater Bay? And it will be, one will be in Broadwater Bay and the other one will be next to the shore?
There are at times differing areas of responsibility and sometimes overlapping. And actually, there may be three entities which may be involved. One is FWP may be involved in conjunction to the navigation aspects.
Okay.
Anything that deals with navigation issues on Canyon Ferry Reservoir has been delegated from the Coast Guard to the FWP. And so they are the entity that regulates it and that component of it. Second aspect is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers may be involved, either directly or as a courtesy copy to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And the third one would be the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation.
Okay.
So I would list three. Is there any others?
Yeah, I'm not sure how the Corps of Engineers is hooked in with commercial, dock, boat docks like that. I'm not sure what has to happen, we just have to talk to them.
Where they may get involved is there's anything that takes place below the mean high water line. If you're putting in some moorings or some concrete anchoring, at that point in time, there's a 404 permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that would need to be facilitated.
What is the permit, a 4-4?
404.
404, okay.
And I would kind of see that being their primary area of responsibility.
Do you
Well,
by
and they
chance-
do regulate, docks on Canyon Ferry Reservoir, For instance, if a cabin site owner wants to have a dock, the Corps needs to know about it, because there's a nationwide permit that it's covered under, but so I'm assuming that it's gonna be the same with some kind of commercial
Okay.
docks.
So do you guys know who we would contact at Corps of Engineers?
They have an office in Helena that's pretty
Um,
understaffed right now, so.
It is, but I can get you that individual's name.
I just thought if you knew it off the top of your head, I can Google and just call the office and,
Todd Tillinger is the head of the Corps of Engineers office in Helena. I'm not sure, most of the people that I knew that were working there are gone now, so I'm not sure who's, because like I say, they're really understaffed, and we've actually had to go a couple times and talk to the office and Billings to deal with them on some issues, so, but Todd's the program manager for the Corps of Engineers in Helena.
okay. Well, we will, make sure that the letter gets to FWP and Corps of Engineers and you guys as well. It's drafted, I just had that question about FWP. Yeah. And the park, you mentioned, public input. Would you like the county to have a public meeting regarding the park?
Yes,
So-
I guess we would like to receive the request from the county, and whether the public input is something conducted from the county or the Bureau of Reclamation, I don't think it's, I don't think there's an issue of who's in the lead of who's conducting the public meeting in conjunction to public input to do this project. But in regards to Bureau of Reclamation regulations, there needs to be public input, so I think it'd be facilitated one or two avenues.
Okay, and perhaps the Parks and Rec Board would actually be a good entity to head this up for both of us.
But at that, reclamation would need to be present at those public meetings. One, a compliance component of it, and the second one is basically for determination of the approval from reclamation as well, so.
And third is, give you a chance to meet some of the people out there. That would be hurt as well.
Understand?
Yeah.
I've seen some recent requests from people in that area about regarding ice fishing, which I'm completely ignorant of, so.
Well, excellent. We'll have to have that soon so that you can get an education. All right, excellent. Any questions about Broadwater Bay, the docks, the park? So far? All right. The other question we have, and we have our road supervisor behind you, is Goose Bay. Do you guys have anything new that you can let us know about regarding Goose Bay, timeline, status, anything?
Certainly. Currently, we have a contractor who's been working out at Goose Bay, and we refer to as the demolition component there to make the property in a presentable fashion for someone to bid to do the upgrade construction there at Goose Bay. S&K Environmental is the contractor who's been doing work out there since late November, early December. I think they mobilized sometime in mid-December. They did stop work this past week. Part of the deal is with the cold weather, since will probably be shut down for the next 6 weeks. There is some remaining work for them to do, and I suspect once they start back up, I would anticipate, at this point in time, probably the 1st of March, probably 6 weeks to finish up the work that they have. There's some permitting issues that we need to get in place with DEQ in order for that work to be, the demo contract to be complete. We're working with entities in regards to placing the bid out for the construction at Goose Bay. As it stands now, that's expected to be completed, talking from memory.
You mean for the award of the contract, actual award of the contract?
Well, the
or
final design is complete, is anticipated to be completed by
End of
May.
February, I guess, is yeah, I think.
February, and then it goes out for bid. We're expecting a bid process to take place sometime in the late spring to early summer. And for the contractor to be awarded sometime in
August, is the last that I heard.
And then from there, there'll be submittals of probably a 1 to 2 month delay after that for them to be at site. So probably the earliest they would be doing work for the construction, for the upgrade there at Goose Bay, probably is going to be September at the earliest.
Okay. Any idea how long it will take? That's gonna be up to the contractor, I understand, but I have to ask.
They're working for a performance period. They may run the same issues as what the demobilization contractor's running into this winter. But there is the intent in this in order for there to be a concession operator to start up services sometime during the summer of 2015.
Okay.
There are still some hurdles we still have to overcome in order for that to be accomplished, but there's efforts being made currently in order for that to be met.
Okay.
And then that's the goal of reclamation.
That's an aggressive goal, but that would be good.
Understand?
Yes. So, with the design, with the construction out there, can you talk to me about Goose Bay Road? Are there any plans to do anything for that road because of the construction equipment, the traffic with the construction equipment, and then the increased recreational equipment?
In regards to what takes place during the construction period, actually there's been some public comments that we've had in our open houses in regards to the new development. Currently there's investigation of what that impact may be to the roads. In regards to impacts from recreation afterwards, there shouldn't be any increased axle weight on those roads than what was currently or prior. Our hopes is that there'd be increased number of axle weight traffic on it, but not increased weight on those roads. In regards to potential impacts during the construction, that's one aspect that's currently being evaluated.
Okay. what can we do, from your perspective to ensure that there's something done? Road stabilization, what have you. Would, further letters from the commission on that help?
Yes, it would. I mean, there's been, quite honestly, there's been a substantial amount of grading of that road, over this year. That's, what equipment has been brought in, I don't think, of course, they've been brought in during the ice conditions, where I kind of see the potential impact to construction equipment being hauled in or hauled out on that road is going to occur during the freeze-thaw period during the late spring. With the work taking place starting in October, that should not be a significant impact due to the dryness of those roads during that time frame. That's something that I would view that as we get closer towards the construction, there needs to be communications taking place with Reclamation and the county commission as to what are plans and time schedules, but also in regards to Reclamation addressing any potential impacts to the roads.
Sure.
But I see the time that may occur is going to occur, I view at this point in time, spring of 2015, because there should not be a large amount, there shouldn't be any construction equipment that be on that road during the spring of 2014, this spring. And when the construction should mobilize this fall, at that point in time, the road should be dry. But my understanding is most of the issue takes place right after the freeze thaw. Basically, you've got a lot of moisture in those roads, and it starts pumping.
Right.
It gets that heavy traffic.
Right. Yeah, which of course makes ruts and washboards and all the
Yes,
other, things that cause hazards in the road. Dana, would you come up and add your expertise to some of these questions regarding those roads?
Bill Blanks, how are you doing, sir?
Good. And I don't know whether, my main concern with that road is all the traffic. You know, it's not so much the construction stuff that's gonna happen. What concerns me is the recreation traffic. They just destroy that road. And I mean, it just pound it to nothing, you know, and I mean, we get out there when we can, as soon as we can, but what we're wondering is if, we'd like to see something done with the road after you guys are done with your little project out there. And continue something, you know, as far as dust stabilization, pavement, something. You know, that's what we're alluding to, isn't it?
Right, yeah, we're 100% what Dana's saying. I'm not so concerned about during the construction, it's after the construction on those roads.
And your springtime deal, you know, about the frost and the pump, and that's not even a concern. The concern is that it gets so dry out there that it just all blows away. In fact, we hauled 2,000 yards of gravel on that this fall, and it helped for a while. But, you know, with all the traffic coming in there for boating and fishing and what all, I mean, it just tore it. So, I mean, you know, I'm looking, we need to do something with that road beyond construction.
Definitely.
That it stays up.
Okay.
So we don't gotta run out there every month and fix it.
And I would request for there to be a written request from the commission for a Reclamation to address that. Because, quite honestly, it's gonna be beyond Canyon Fair, it's gonna be on the area office and the regional level
Yeah.
that engaged into. I think a written request from the commission, will open up a lot of candid discussion on that.
Yeah.
Sir, we have sent numerous letters
Mhm.
to REC requesting that,
Okay.
and Sean can to attest to that.
Well, the request was for dust, or mag chloride, I believe, are the only requests that I've seen.
Yeah.
And we, you know, that went through the whole process, and, you know, basically the answer is no, because it's not a Bureau of Reclamation road, so we can't spend money on it. And that was the answer that came back.
Yeah, it is, and I understand all that, but it's because of what happens down there, why all these vehicles are going down there. I mean, it's because of recreation on the lake. Now, I don't know who owns the lake. Doesn't make any difference to me, but, you know, you guys got a chunk of ground down there. And these people are going down to go fishing and go boating and doing whatever they're doing. And I mean, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, we need to try to have a little help with it.
That's what I think, they're causing the impact down there. So I think in your design, whatever money you're gonna spend on this campground stuff, that money should be allotted for that road in this process.
And frankly, what I'm asking for is that a written letter from the county commission asking us to
Okay,
for that.
okay, that's a start.
Would facilitate, I think, discussion for us to go forward in regards to what is possible in that, for addressing that.
Yeah, and that would be.
Because there has been discussion in the region of, you know, what are some, trying to coordinate with some grant monies, what may be available or not out there. And I think this would help basically facilitate those discussions.
Okay, we do actually have a grant in the works, specifically for Goose Bay, and would be looking at a 50-50 share for the, at the very least, for the, match. But frankly, Dana's right, you know, it is a county road, we understand that, but it's all the recreation that has, you know, added so many problems to that road.
I understand, I mean, there is a residential neighborhood there.
Right.
They do not have the axle weight of a recreational vehicle, so I understand
Yeah.
exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we can, definitely get, some more letters to you guys, some more specific letters away from the mag chloride specifically, aimed towards the paving. And then could we continue having these meetings on a monthly or bi-monthly basis during this period, so that we can maintain our cooperation with the construction aspect of this, as well as updates with the grants?
Certainly.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else, Dana, as far as
No, other than that,
perspective?
that's the only thing I'm really concerned about, cause, I mean, it's just, it would help everybody out if we could do something with it. Help you guys out, help us out, help the community out down there.
And I guess a
Understand.
request I would have is, if we're asking for the wrong thing, like mag chloride, and we should be asking for paving, maybe these monthly meetings, you guys could help educate us too on what some of the, you know, some of the things that we should be doing that we're not doing. Sometimes you ask for the bare minimum, thinking that's an easy yes, when we should be asking for the ultimate, when that could actually be a yes, but we aren't aware of that. So hopefully open communication can help us actually straighten out this problem.
Straighten that up as well as give clarification if there's any limitations
Right,
that either entity may be engaged in.
absolutely. We understand there are limitations for both. All right, anything else from the board?
No, that's basically it, that's, like we said, that's what we'll stick to.
Dana, any other comments?
No.
All right.
I guess I do have one question, Madam Chair. Will you have a concessionaire like previously?
At Goose Bay?
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That'll be advertised, and I don't know exact time frame when, they bring that schedule with me of when that may be advertised, but I suspect probably latter part of this year is when that'll be advertised for a concession operator to make a submittal. And from that, Reclamation will review those submittals, and from that, make a selection for the concessionaire. And typically, is it 20-year duration?
Yeah, that's what the last two, but then 20-year.
We have three concession operations on Canyon Ferry, at Yacht Basin, at Kemp's Marina, and at Goose Bay. And so the two previous ones were 20 years, so unless something changes within policy Reclamation being out, then that probably will be the standard.
There was some mention that you guys were thinking about another county concessionaire agreement like we have at Silos. Are you guys thinking back along the lines of just strictly the concessionaire at this point?
The discussion I've heard has been for concession air operator.
Yeah, I think maybe a the area manager maybe spoke to you at one of the meetings, and I don't know what occurred during that conversation, so. I think it's if that's something that the county's interested in, I'm sure we're willing to entertain that. So,
All right, we can discuss that, and if so, put it in a letter
yeah.
for you guys and discuss that at one of our upcoming meetings. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for all the information.
Sure.
Hopefully in a month's time, we'll have some kind of update on the grant. So that we'll have some information there, and then also we'll have those letters too, and hopefully have some kind of response back from what you guys are potentially able to do.
Sounds good.
All right, anything else? Last chance? All right, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks for coming in, Dana.
Sir, you too. Sean?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, 11:30, we're a little bit ahead of schedule again. Let's go ahead and jump to Commissioner's Community Update. Franklin, what'd you do this week? 2 weeks.
Okay, I wrote down here something. To the Elkhorn Restoration meeting, LEPC, weed board, conservation meeting. Also went to Mako and had some informative, interesting information with them. So that was, took place with me.
Anything that you can update the commission on so that we're aware of what happened at some of those meetings?
Conservation, they're working on that Deep Creek project through there. That's what we'll talk about mostly. Elkhorn Restoration, they're gonna get a meeting set up with the private landowners that are in that area there. That's joining this restoration part. There really wasn't much of that. The LEPC was continuation of emergency planning things. I can't remember the detail on that. Separation.
All right, Elaine.
Attended the Rocky Mountain Development Council board meeting. It was a pretty lengthy meeting this time. They're still advertising for a new director. They've been without, other than an interim director for the last year. A lot of the meeting was spent on working on Head Start grants. And quite a few, even the regional person from Denver was there to explain what's going on with Head Start and all the different, because there's Jefferson, Broadwater, and Lewis and Clark all involved with that. And so lots and lots of good information came out of that. Lots of kids, lots of homes getting help. It isn't just a school, it's lots of different ways of helping them, so that was very good. Very interesting meeting.
Very good. And they're coming out of it, it sounds like.
They are. A year ago, they were hurting big time financially, and they're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now, so things are being turned around.
Excellent. They serve a lot of people in our county. It's an important
Yes, they
thing
do.
to see.
The senior center, Meals on Wheels. We have Head Start program right here in Broadwater County. There's just lots and lots of things that it's about. And they have 2 apartments, I guess you would say, down here in the south end of town that they own. And one that they bought recently, over a year or so ago, and they've renovated every one of those apartments within there. So, a lot of good things coming there.
Excellent.
They're worried about federal cuts, as everybody is.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an Agency on Aging meeting, which is a division of Rocky, and that's 9 counties. And, we also had a very lengthy meeting because we got into PILT. PILT has not been funded this year or next year. They're gonna try and put it into the Farm Bill, which has been languishing in Congress for several years now. So, we don't know anything about that yet, but Mike Murray is on the Agency on Aging Board, and he is one of the people, one of the commissioners in the state that is on the national team. Is he the president of NACO now?
Mhm.
So he's the president of the National Association of Counties. And he was recently in Washington DC and he said, it's coming. He tried to set everybody to rest, but that was really tough to do. We have commissioners from Park County, Marr, Gallatin, Broadwater, Jefferson, Lewis and Clark. I'm forgetting some, but anyway, we were all talking about PILT. One of the things for this county is, if we didn't get PILT next year, it wouldn't mean that much to us. It would hit us, but it's not like we wouldn't have layoffs, we wouldn't have a disruption in services. We hold enough over each year so that if that happens, we have a cushion. We can get through it, our budgets would not be negatively affected for a year. Jefferson County would be looking at instant layoffs. They use 100% of their PILT to balance their budget every year. Marr County, Gallatin County, same thing. Livingston, same thing, which is Park County. So there's a lot of counties that would be in a world of hurt without PILT. So Mike Murray was very solid that we'll get it, we just don't know. At this point, I'm not gonna hold my breath, because blue is not a good color on me. I think it's gonna languish. I think a lot of counties are gonna go broke. I think a lot of people are gonna lose their jobs, and I think the feds are finally gonna say, Congress is finally gonna say, oh, maybe we need to pay attention.
Well, and
I
it's
hope it
just
doesn't
not
take that.
Montana.
Oh, no. And it's not just the West.
No.
There's a very strong group from New York working on this. This is nationwide. There's an awful lot of eastern counties, western, mid-country, northern, southern. Yeah, that's a good point, it's not just Montana. So, everything else that we discussed at the Agency on Aging paled beside PILT. Federal cutbacks, are coming, in everything. So, one of the things though, that there was an article, and I believe it was in the Billings Gazette, and it talked about a number of states, have been in the red. Montana, of course, stayed in the black for the last couple of years, as you guys know. But a number of states had some really strong investments this year, and states are seeing a bounce in their budgets. So several of the states are looking at one-time capital expenditures to kind of give the states a boost. That's one thing that the Agency on Aging will be looking at, is requesting some of these capital expenditures for things like senior center stoves, foot clinics. Sometimes seniors have a hard time walking, trip and fall because they simply cannot take care of their feet. Something so minor has such a huge impact. So we'll be looking at that. We also had a JDAI conference call, that's Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative. And judges are actually picking up that mantle and having some meetings around the state to address juvenile detention alternatives. BCDC, we met again on the silos, and what we are going to be doing, we're going to have some cleanup days to get rid of some of the noxious weeds, and we'll be working with the NRC on that. And attended the annual Chamber of Commerce dinner, and that was held at the train station. Fabulous location for an event. We were not packed in like sardines. There was elbow room, there was room to talk. The food was fabulous. There was room for silent auction. It was really a fabulous venue, and great event, well attended. So, and we have a new president, Ross Johnson from the bank. Bob Saxby has been trying to retire for many years, and his vice president, Doug Brecker, would like to remain vice president indefinitely. So, Good night was had by all. That's all. Anything else? And commissioner updates? All right, I have a question for you guys, since we're still a little bit ahead of schedule. This is a succession plan discussion that I think we need to have. 2 years ago, we lost our county attorney, and we followed MCA as best we could to get a new one in. It took us months. This past year, Lewis and Clark had a commissioner resign. Commissioner Murdoch left the Gallatin County Commission. Tom Lithgow left the Jefferson County Commission just a couple months, December, last month, due to health reasons. And Nancy Schlepp left the Marr County Commission because she took a new position. One of the problems with succession of commissioners is when you are a nonpartisan county like we are, you do not have the structure that a Lewis and Clark or Gallatin have because they have the political parties. Their commissioners serve their positions as Democrats or Republicans. We don't. So the only thing in MCA for appointing a new commissioner, so should one of us, God forbid, get hit by a bus tomorrow, is that the two remaining commissioners will make the decision, period. There's no structure, there's no guidance. So the one thing that Jefferson County did is they kind of paved a road for some of us other counties. What they did is they held public meetings that were structured with all the people who were interested in the position. The structure is important because you can have a public meeting and you can have strong support for one, and that person is treated very kindly, very politely in the meeting. Another one may be just as qualified, but they don't have that support at that particular meeting, and they're not treated quite as nicely. You can see how one would appear much better than the other with that kind of an environment. So Jefferson County had a structure where it was a public meeting, kind of like a forum. Questions were submitted early, and they had a moderator who read the questions and then took turns on who went first, so that one person didn't always have the advantage of a longer time to be able to think, and you didn't have the tough questions going to one person, the easy ones going to the next one first. So I think it would be wise for us to look at a succession plan. We can go by resolution through a public process, implement that so that if something happens, we have it already in black and white that this is the way we're going to do it. The second thing that was suggested, and I think it's a good idea, is that the decision still would be that of the leftover 2 commissioners per MCA. However, it would be wise to have a panel of, say, 5 elected officials that would be involved in the process, that would ask questions, think of questions, that would be an advisory council to the commission. That group would then come to the commission and give what boards do now when they interview an employee. We recently had interviews. The board is the interviewer, and when everyone's been interviewed, that board says, you know, this is who I think should get the job for these reasons. The final decision is made jointly or brought to that particular department head. I think a succession plan should have a board, an advisory board that would come to us with a recommendation, and a structured interview process. So what I would like is to put together some ideas and have some public working meetings and public hearings on that. One thing that has happened in the past with counties is when there has been a vacated seat and you have 2 commissioners who cannot get along, and you guys can remember back a year ago when we couldn't even get minutes done in the legally required 3 weeks. We were going 6, 7, 8 weeks just to get minutes done, and then all of a sudden we were getting 5 done in 1 week. That kind of bringing the county to its knees would be devastating if you had an indefinite, just 2-person commission. So, if the board is in agreement,